At the weekend, it's back to league action with a trip to Birmingham, a chance to get back to winning ways. Well, I mean, that is the big question. Birmingham, another team that have been struggling, Glenn. We said that about Millwall, and that was
Yep.
an interesting one. Mark Venus looks like staying in charge. Obviously, Tony Mowbray recovering from an illness. They gave Ipswich a good game, but they've only won, I think, is it one in their last 10 games or something like that? They've been struggling anyway. So your thoughts on this one on Saturday? A good chance for us to get back to winning ways?
Yeah, it is, but we've got to do it properly. I mean, there can be no room for complacency after, our sort of aura of invincibility, if you like, has disappeared somewhat in the last few weeks. So Birmingham will think they'll have a chance at home against us, whereas they maybe wouldn't have done a few weeks ago. So, and to be honest, they need the points because they're heading very swiftly to where Wayne Rooney was going to take them towards the bottom three. So they will need a result in the same way that Millwall needed a result. So I think it's just a tough game. Mark Venus will be trying to put his stamp on things. I mean, he's get well soon. Tony Mowbray seems like he's always been a genuinely good guy. Mark Venus will have got the job. He probably wouldn't have wanted the job. It's been dumped on him essentially in strange circumstances. So he will be wanting to do the best for Tony Mowbray. So hopefully he comes back and takes over with the club in a healthier place. So I think it'll be a difficult game. Last time we played them, we got a bit fortunate. We had an offside goal, and we should have given a penalty away when Bazunu did what he did yesterday, oddly enough, and came out a little bit late and flattened a player. So they've won the last two home games as well, Birmingham.
That's right.
So it's not going to be a gimme, that's for sure. And we have to go up there, start well, and not give them anything. Not give away a stupid goal. I mean, one thing Russell Martin and I 100% agree with the weekend is that we've now started conceding the first goal, whereas during the 25 game run, more often than not, we scored the first goal. But ever since that Huddersfield game, which should have been the wake up call, I know West Brom we played well, but we've been letting in the first goal and then struggling. So we need to get back to that. So a nice positive start. Hopefully the Liverpool game doesn't take too much out of us in that we don't get any injuries and stuff like that, and we can hopefully have Flynn Downs back. He won't play against Liverpool, by the way. We can hopefully have him back for the Birmingham game and get back to the team that we know we can be.
Tom, it was 3-1 at St Mary's back in the day when they were known as Wayne Rooney's Birmingham. Going to be a difficult game, a different game, I'm sure, at the weekend. But Leeds, Leicester, Ipswich, us, we've all put 3 past them at some point. So it's going to be a tough game, but we've got to win this one, surely.
Yeah, I think so. I do feel fairly confident for this one. I mean, I'm sure they're going through the clips of the various goals we've conceded in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they'll get belief from that, Birmingham, for sure, and we'll certainly think that if they can get at us quickly, and I mean, Neil Harris said we really want to put pressure on the goalkeeper yesterday, when they try and play out from the back, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a sort of come then flying out the traps and a very high press. But I think we've got better players than they have. There's no doubt about that, and I think they've just got to believe that that what they've done so far, on the balance of probability, will be good enough. I mean, I think for as long as I can remember, we've never really been a club who, no matter who's playing or who the manager is, that respond very well to sort of adversity in game. And I thought we'd sort of got round that a bit with the amount of late goals that we'd scored, and that's perhaps the most eye-opening thing for me about yesterday again was that we almost seemed to get sort of worse as the game went on, and that we haven't really seen that. So I think it's particularly with Downs back in there and that spine sort of back together, and I hope he sticks with Adams as well through the middle. I think it will come good again. They've just got to sort of keep the faith a little bit now, and that's what this sort of run is testing in all of us, really, isn't it? We've got players that other teams would absolutely love to have playing for them, and for the most part have been fairly consistent and good this year. So yeah, I think we'll win at Birmingham. I don't think they're great. My dad's a Birmingham City fan, so certainly hope so. But yeah, I think it's just sort of time for everyone to take a breath, I think, isn't it? What happens in midweek, who knows? I really think that's a tough one to call in terms of scoreline and everything like that and how we might approach it. But I think, every reason to be confident going up to St Andrews.
Do you think it helps, Tom, being away from home as well? Just with maybe the pressure off a little bit, just sort of reflecting back on Russell Martin and the post-match stuff that he was talking about. And do you think it would just be good to get away and be away from St Mary's? And actually, if we do concede the first goal, we've still got time, and the away fans will be behind them. Yeah,
I think that's a really, really good point, Martin. I do think so, and I think I thought the crowd were, and the atmosphere generally was pretty poor in that whole game, and you could argue that maybe the team didn't give the supporters a lot. And actually I thought the atmosphere was a lot better yesterday, and fans generally did sort of stick with the team a lot more. And obviously away from home, that's always the case. Brilliant support, and I'm not sure if the away end is sold out. I imagine it almost certainly will be. So yeah, I do think that perhaps can help at the moment. I mean, people always point at our record away at the top sides in this league not being particularly good, don't they? And that's obviously going to be tested in playing the three above us in the coming weeks. But yeah, as I say, we've seen games this season, plenty of them, where we've just had far too much quality for the opposition, and 9 times out of 10, as long as you don't do something too maverick with maybe sort of Stevens playing in the 10 role or something next week, then we should be okay, I think. But I think that is a good point. In that run of 4 defeats earlier in the season, it was really starting to sour a little bit in those home games, the atmosphere, wasn't it? And I suppose it was early enough in the season that we'd seen all the absolute kind of rubbish that had gone on for the seasons before it as well. So he has got some credit in the bank, Martin, absolutely, I think, and the players as well. So yeah, we were never going to, I don't think, go unbeaten for the rest of the season, unfortunately. So
no,
it's not a disaster. We can get back on track, and the perfect game to do it, I think.
They've had some good results, Steve, Birmingham. They've ground out some good results. They've had some bad defeats as well. It's a bit unpredictable, this one.
Yeah, they're a funny old side, and ultimately with obviously Tony Mowbray stepping back for the rest of the season and Mark Venus taking his place, it's difficult to know whether it's a case of whether Venus is offering continuity or whether he's got his own different ideas. Ipswich obviously ground them down in the end at Portman Road yesterday, but it kind of sounded like Ipswich were largely in control for the vast majority of that game, and the equaliser on half-time came sort of massively against the run of play. So I do kind of think that at the end of the day, they're still in that league position for a very good reason. And hovering, I mean, what are they? 3 points above the bottom 3. It's very tight down there, but there's a lot of teams that frankly just aren't very good, and we've got to kind of put yesterday's events out of the mind very quickly. And Saturday's a whole new one where events are hopefully going to be very different. Get back to playing how we're a bit more comfortable playing. Birmingham as the home team may be a bit more adventurous, which you would think gives us a little bit more space to operate in. It's not going to be Birmingham sticking 10 men behind the ball with one lump up front to kind of hold things up. I think they'll play a fairly normal sort of system for a side playing at home. They've got some good players. It's not like they're not Rotherham, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go into a home game playing ultra defensive. I think they'll have watched yesterday's game and see, oh, okay, maybe Southampton are kind of ripe for the taking for one of us sort of weaker sides, and hopefully that as I say, that plays into our hands a little bit.
Trevor said this week, at least in the past 2 matches, we've discovered our main problem. We struggle against teams who press us, and we struggle against teams who don't press us. Against teams who neither press or don't press, we should be fine. So we'll take that into Saturday. I just want to do some score predictions. I must just say, Tom, 4 pods in a row where no one has got a single point in the predictions league that we do. So you're playing on behalf of Alfie today. I would normally say as well, this is a safe space where we can just say what we think the score's going to be, and it's never going to come back to haunt us. Although that wasn't the case after the Millwall predictions. Unfortunately, we got that so horrendously wrong. So have a little think. Steve, I'm going to come to you first. Score prediction for the Birmingham game, please.
I think, as I say, it's not going to be an easy one, but I think we'll do enough. 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Glenn's just folded his arms and rolled back in his chair. What are you thinking, Glenn?
It's remarkable. Steve always says the same thing that I'm about to say. Can you come to me first next time?
You think 2-1 this time, do you?
Just getting boring, and then I have to change, and then we're both wrong anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But so I was going to say 2-1, but I'll be a tiny little bit more optimistic and go for 2-0. I don't think it'll be particularly free flowing or exciting or anything like that, but I think we'll do enough to get the job done, and hopefully, I live in hope that we'll set up the way that we've set up all the way through the 25 game unbeaten run, please, and get the job done. So yeah, 2-0.
Okay, Tom.
Well, I thought as the guest I was going to be given the privilege of going first, but and I genuinely was going to say 2-0, Glenn. But I don't want to do Alfie any favours anyway, so it doesn't matter too much, does it? I think, I'm feeling confident. Wasn't feeling necessarily this confident, but why not 3-0? I think
okay. I think I'll take the draw, to be honest, just to be different. I'll take the 1-1. If you're watching the live stream on Sunday evening, do put your score predictions in the comment section so we can see those.